Hi, today we're looking at Functional Skills Maths Entry Level 2. We've got the Pearson Edexcel exam board. It's past paper 2 we're looking at, and we're going to start with the non-calculator section. Question 1. Magda works out the cost of her meals in a week. Complete the calculation. And we've got 6 times 7 equals. Okay, so with these, best way to think is, are you more comfortable with your 6 times table or your 7 times table? Now, usually I'd say 6 is probably a bit more simple or straightforward, possibly, rather than simple. So let's think, instead of 6 times 7, think of 7 lots of 6. So we've got 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, 42. That's our 7 sixes. And remember, if you can't remember all of them, if you get stuck at 3 sixes or 4 sixes, you can then just count on. So as long as we're doing 6 lots of 7s or 7 lots of 6s, eventually we'll get up to 42. Question 2. Magda buys a banana and a cereal bar for breakfast. We've got the price of the banana there is 27p, and we've got the price of the cereal bar, that's 55p. How much money in total does she spend on breakfast? Use the correct symbol for money. So you can do this using the column method, so 27 and 55, and we've got our units, and we've got our tens. And so we'd start off adding our units. We always do that with adding. So we'd say 7 plus 5. So put the 7 in our heads and count on 5. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we put the 2 down and we're going to carry this 1 across. I'm going to write it here because this is going to become part of my tens now. So we've got 2 plus 5 plus the 1. So let's start with the bigger number. Start with the 5. And then we'll count on 6, 7, that's for the 2, and then 1 more takes us up to 8. So we've got a total of 82. So our answer is going to be 82. It's probably easiest to just put it as 82p. If you wanted, you could write it as 0.82 pounds. Both answers would be okay. If you're not so comfortable with the column method, then you can think of it in terms of just tens and units. So you could say, well, if I just look at the tens, I've got 20 and 50p. And then we can think of 2 plus 5 is 7. And it's 7 tens, so it's 70. And then we can look at the units separately and say, well, I've got 7. And then I've got a 5. So if we start with the 7 and count on 5, we'd have 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So then we just need to add our 70 and our 12. And now it's a bit more straightforward because we're not going past 10 when we do the units. We've just got 0 plus 2, which is 2, 7 plus 1, which is 8. Okay, so it's the same as what we've got here. Just a different way of doing it if you're not so comfortable using the column method. Question 3. Magda has a pack of 35 fruit drinks. She uses 3 fruit drinks each day. For how many whole days will the pack last? Show how many fruit drinks are left over. Show your working and your answer here. So we've got 35 fruit drinks. She's using 3 a day. So we want to know how many times this 3 is going to fit into 35. Or in other words, we want the 35 and we're going to divide it into 3s. Now if we're dividing, we're going to use our bus stop. So the bigger number goes inside the bus stop and the small number goes on the outside. And we just start with the outside number and we just look at one digit at a time. So we say, well, can 3 go into 3? Well, yes, it's the same number, so 3 goes into 3 exactly once. What about, can 3 go into 5? Well, 3 is smaller than 5, so it certainly goes into 5. So it goes at least once. Could it go in twice? Well, 2 3s would be 6, which is too much. So 3 just goes into the 5 once. But then we've got 4, 5, so we've got 2 left over. So we've got 11, remainder 2. Okay, and you can think of that as it's like 3 11 times, which gives us 33, 3 times 1 and 3 times 1, and 2 left over. 3 plus 2 is 5, 3 and nothing is just 3. So this is like a little check to see that we get back to the number at the start. Okay, so further down the question, we've got space for the answer. So how many whole days? Well, 3 went in 11 whole times. And how many fruit drinks left over? That's going to be our remainder. So we had 2 left over. And now we're on to the calculator section. Magda wants to make a meal. She needs a total of 75 grams of rice for the meal. Magda weighs some rice. So we've got this arrow here telling us on the scales how much she's got. Okay. How much more rice does Magda need for the meal to the nearest division? Use the correct unit. Okay, so let's start off by going, when I say nearest division, they mean closest one of these lines. So this arrow is closest to this number, 30. So she needs 75 altogether. She's already got 30. We want to know how much more she needs. So we're saying 75 we need. If we subtract what she's already got, then we're going to find out how much more she needs. Well, this, we can certainly do it using a column method. And this is quite a nice one because we can say 5 take away 0 or 5 take away nothing. Well, we're still left with 5. We haven't taken anything away. 7 take away 3. Well, let's count back from 7. 6, 5, 4. So we're left with 45. So it's 45, but 45 what? It says the correct unit. Well, this is in grams. So we can write grams, or we can just put a G. Question 2. Magda works out the time it will take to cook a meal. She does this calculation. And we've got 55 something 38 equals 17. What is the missing symbol? Okay, and we've got our options here. It's either plus, equals, minus, or divide. Well, this is the calculator section, so we can just test them all out. In fact, with question 1, when we did our 75 minus 30, we could just use the calculator for that as well. But what I'm going to try here is I'm going to start with plus. So 55 plus 38. No, that's not 17, so it's not that one. What about 55 equals 38? Well, that doesn't make sense because they'd have to be the same number for that to work. What about minus? So 53 minus 38. What did I type in? Sorry, I said 53. It's 55. 55 minus 38. That does give me 17, so that looks like the right answer. But let's just check it with divide as well. 55 divided by 38, 1.44, definitely not equal to 17. So we've got our right answer here. Okay. If you can spot the answer straight away, great. But remember, you can use your calculator, so you can just do trial and error. Okay. Question 3. Magda works in a health centre. She does a survey about the health centre. The chart shows the results. How can we make the health centre better? So we've got, let's move this up so we can see it all. Right, we've got what people want along the bottom. So longer opening times, faster Wi-Fi, better website, bigger waiting room, and the number of people up the sides. Okay. Now the question is, how many more people want a bigger waiting room than faster Wi-Fi? So we're interested in bigger waiting room and faster Wi-Fi. Just these two. How many more? So we want to know the difference. So the difference between this bar and this bar. So let's find out how many we've got for each of them first of all. So I'm going to start with bigger waiting room just because it's up at the top. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a straight line across, and then I'm going to work out what number relates to this. Well, if this is 45 here, we're going to work out what each of these are worth. Well, with entry level 2 most of the time, each line is just going to be worth 1, but it's worth checking. So if this was 45, that would be 46, 47, 48, 49, 50. Yeah, that works fine. So 46, so this must be 47. In fact, I'm going to write it on here. Now, we wanted faster Wi-Fi as well. So again, I'm going to draw a nice straight line across. This is what we want. So I can count up from 30, 31, 32, 33, 34. Or in fact, I could have started at 35 and just counted back 1, which would still give me 34. And I'm going to write that on there. Now, if you remember, the question was, how many more people want a bigger waiting room than faster Wi-Fi? Well, bigger waiting room was 47 people. Faster Wi-Fi was 34 people. So if we want to know how many more, we need a subtraction. We're trying to find the difference. So get our calculator, 47 minus 34, and we get 13. And with this one, it's how many people. So it's 13 people. You don't have to write it, but it's good to think about what is it we've worked out, and it makes sure that you don't miss out any units. It could have been pounds, it could have been grams, but in this case, we're just talking about people. Question 4. Magda wants the waiting room to have 50 chairs. There are 29 chairs in the waiting room. Magda thinks she needs 31 more chairs. Is Magda correct? Show why you think this. So 2 different but both equally correct ways of doing it. We can work out exactly how many chairs she needs, because we can say, well, if she's got 50, or she wants 50, they've already got 29, so if we subtract 29, then the difference, the missing number, is going to be how many more she needs. So we can say 50 minus 29 equals 21. And then we can say, well, 21 is not equal to, so cross through equals, is not equal to 31. So is Magda correct? No. If we want to do it a different way, so this is or alternative, you don't have to do both ways, just pick the method you like the most. What we could say is, well, if we started with 29, she thinks she needs 31 more. So if we bought an extra 31, how many would that get us? Well, 29 plus 31, well, that takes us up to 60. And 60 is more than 50. So we'd still say, no, she's not right. Okay, but it's just a different way of doing it. So either we're trying to work out what the actual answer is and compare it with what they've got, or we use the information they've given us to check back and see if it gets to what we need. So we can tick the no box. Right, now we've got 5A. Round 29 to the nearest 10. Well, 29, so if it's 20, 20 is going to be the smallest 10 it could be. And the next 10 up from 20 is 30. So 29 is between these two 10s. If it's the nearest 10, it's got to end in the 0. We're trying to work out which one it's closer to. I like to think, well, let's find halfway. Halfway, or half of a 10 is 5. So halfway is going to be 25. And is 29 going to fall in the first half or the second half? Well, 29 is clearly going to fall in the second half. So it must be closer to 30. If you like to use the rule and say, well, is it less than 5 or is it 5 or above? Fine. But I think this is nice because this helps you to think, well, which are my two possible answers? And then it's easier to check because we can see now 29, well, of course, it's only 1 away from 30, but it's a lot further away from 20. And part B. Use the rounded number to check your answer to question 4. Okay, well, if you remember question 4, this was the one about the chairs in the waiting room. Okay, and well, what we did was at the start we said 50 minus 29. Well, we've just said that 29 rounded to the nearest 10 is 30. So instead of 50 minus 29, we can say, well, let's do 50 minus 30. And we can still use our calculator, but if we were doing this without a calculator, and that's kind of the idea of doing these checks, we'd just say 5 minus 3, or like 5 tens minus 3 tens, it'd be 40, 30, 20, and we get an answer of 20, which is approximately equal to the 21 that we worked out. And that's all we're trying to do with the check. We're just trying to see that we get close-ish to something. Okay. Or we could also still say, well, even if it's 20, 20 is definitely not 31, which we got up here. Question 6. Magda finds information on chairs for the waiting room. So we've got the different widths in centimetres, what they're made of, so we've got wood or metal, and the cost, and that's in pounds. Magda wants metal chairs less than 55 centimetres in width. How much will each chair cost? Right, so there's two things we're looking at there. We want metal chairs and less than 55 centimetres. So if we want the metal ones, well then the top one's no good because it's made of wood. And this one's no good. And this one's no good. Okay, we get rid of those straight away because they're not metal. Now we want chairs less than 55 centimetres. These are the widths. 56, well that's more than 55, so that's okay. Oh no, we want less than 55, so 56 is no good, because 56 is more than 55. So let's get rid of that one. 54 is okay, because 54 is less than 55. 57, well again, 57 is bigger than 55, so it can't be that one. So the only one we're left with is this one here. And it says, how much would each chair cost? So we've used the 54, but that's not our answer because that was the width. The cost is going to be this number here. And it's money. They've given the pound, so it's going to be £77. In fact, they've given us space for it down at the bottom, so we can put that there. Question 7. Magda sorts patient files in order of their file number. Which is the second greatest file number? Remember, when they say greatest, what they really mean is biggest. Yeah. And we want the second biggest. So we've got 151, 57. In fact, I'm going to write them all out because we've got quite a few on the page here. So we've got 151. We've got 57. And I'm lining up my units and my tens. We've then got 75 and 101. And then down at the bottom, we've got 105 and 117. Okay, we want the biggest ones. Well, the biggest ones, they're certainly not going to be these two. They're going to be the ones starting in the hundreds, because these two are less than 100. So what's the very biggest? Well, these four have got 1 in the hundreds, which comes... Well, I'm going to cross out both of those two because they haven't got any hundreds, so we know they're smaller. Now we're looking at the tens for the ones that have got 100. Well, 5 is going to be the biggest. So let's put a number 1 to show that's the biggest one. What's the next biggest? Well, 1 and 0 tens, 1 and 0 tens, or 1 and 1 2 10. So it's going to be that one. So 117. So now we just need to put a tick there. Okay. Magda contacts patients about a health check. She contacts male patients aged 55 years to 65 years. So 55 to 65. So that means they could be 55. There could be 56, there could be 57, there could be 58, could be 59, there could be 60, could be 61, 62, 63, 64, or 65. Okay, so it took a little while to write them out, but this is going to help us because we know that these are all the possible values that we're interested in. Okay, which patient does Magda contact? So we've got the numbers for the years, but also it's male patients that we're interested in. So for example, Mrs. Santos, who's female, not interested. Doesn't matter what her age is, we only want male patients. So Mr. Chen, could it be Mr. Chen? Well, he's 67 years. 67 is more than this. It's not in this range, so it can't be Mr. Chen. What about Mrs. Patel? Well, again, we've got a female. We only want males. And Mrs. Sims, another female, so it can't be her. So we've got Mr. Balak. Well, he's male, that's good. And he's 61 years old. Well, 61 is one of the values here, between 55 and 65. So it's looking like it could be Mr. Balak. But let's check the last value. We've got another male, which is what we want. He's 24 years old. Well, 24, no, that's not in this range. It's much smaller than 55. So we can cross off Mr. Green, and we're sure it must be Mr. Balak. Magda emails 60 patients about a health check. She receives an answer from 1/4 of the patients. How many patients send an answer to Magda? So we want to know what 1/4 of 60 is. So 1/4 is the same as saying divided by 4. Yeah, splitting it into 4 equal parts. And this is where we can use our calculator again. 60 divided by 4, we get an answer of 15. Is that one of our options? Yes, it is. Question 10. A patient wants a health check in the afternoon. She chooses a time between 5 o'clock and 7 o'clock. Which time does the patient choose? Okay, we can see some of the times here using the 24-hour clock. So what we want to do is we want to turn our times into the 24-hour clock. So if they're in the afternoon, we need to add 12 to each of them. Okay. So 5 plus 12 on the 24-hour clock, that's going to make that 1700 or 1700. And 7 o'clock, 7 plus 12, is going to make that 1900 hours or 1900. So we need an answer which is between 1700 and 1900. Well, 20 is more than 17, so it can't be that. 7 is less than 17, because this would be 7 o'clock in the morning. Can't be that one. 18, well, 18 is between 17 and 19, so that's looking promising at the moment. I'm going to tick it, but I'm going to check the others. Well, 16 is less than 17, so it's not between those times, so it can't be that. 6, well, again, we've got a morning time. We need it in the afternoon, so it can't be 6. And 1500, well, no, it's got to be between 17 and 19. 15 is less than that one. So it must be 1800 hours or 1800. Question 11. A patient had a temperature of 41 degrees on Monday. Magda takes his temperature later in the week. This must be the thermometer. Magda says the temperature has gone down 5 degrees. Is Magda correct? Well, let's see where the thermometer is. Stopped here. So that's 37 degrees. Well, if it started at 41 and it's gone down to 37, well, if we subtract 37, the difference is going to be how much it's reduced by. So 41 minus 37, well, that's gone down by 4 degrees. And 4 is not equal to 5. So is Magda correct? No, it's not. Now there's another alternative we could do here, so or. And what we could do is we could say, well, if it started at 41 and it did go down by 5 degrees, so minus 5, we would have 41 minus 5, we'd have 36 degrees. But we know it's not 36, it's 37. So we'd say 36 is not equal to 37. So, no. So we still get the same answer. But one, we're looking at working out what the actual difference is. The other method, we're saying, well, let's use their difference and see if it takes us back to the right answer. Magda makes a website about healthy food. The website has a diagram with this shape. What is the name of this shape? Well, let's start off by counting the sides. And it's good to mark the sides as you're counting. Now, you could count the corners instead, but generally it just tends to be easier to count the sides. But if you want to do corners, that's fine. But I'm going to mark them as I count them so I don't miss any out or double count any. So 1, in fact I'll write the numbers, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we want a 5-sided shape. If you can remember, excellent. If not, we have got some options. Hexagon. Well, I remember the X from hexagon. There's also an X in 6. So I know hexagon's 6-sided, so it's not that one. Cylinder. Well, a cylinder's a 3D shape. In fact, the cylinder something like this, like a can of Coke or tin of beans. So it's 3D shape, so it's definitely not that, because this is a flat 2D shape. Pentagon, that seems to ring a bell. I think we can have a pentagon there, 5 sides, but let's just check. A cuboid, well, this is another 3D shape. That's where we've got like a cardboard box. Something like that would be a cuboid. Definitely not that. So we've got our pentagon. Question 13. Magda has this shape on her website. She adds a title to the shape. The title is Healthy Food. Where does Magda put the title? Now we need the options here for it to make a bit more sense. So have we put the title, so here, is it below the shape, inside the shape, left of the shape, or outside of the shape? Well, below the shape would be down here somewhere. It's not below the shape. Inside the shape? Well, it is inside the shape. So that looks good. But still, let's check the others just to make sure. Left of the shape, well, that would be somewhere over here to the left, and it's not over there. Outside the shape, well, that could be anywhere around here, and it's definitely not on the outside, it's on the inside. So we can cross that one out. We're left with this one. Okay, you don't need to cross all the wrong ones out, but I find it helpful as a check and just to give yourself the confidence that what you're doing is right. Okay, question 14. Magda puts this list on her website. We've got amounts of sugar in cans of drink. So Happy Orange has got 26 grams, Smile Cola's got 15 grams, Tropic Lemon's 18 grams, Lucky Orange is 23 grams, Extra Cola is 32 grams, Magic Lemon's got 12 grams of sugar, and Texo Orange has got 32 grams of sugar. Magda shows which orange drink has the least sugar. Which orange drink does Magda show? So again, we've got 2 bits of information here. Which orange drink and least sugar? Okay, so first of all, we only want the orange drinks. So we don't want cola. We don't want lemon. Could be Lucky Orange. We don't want Extra Cola. We don't want Magic Lemon. So orange drinks, we've only got Happy Orange, Lucky Orange, or Texo Orange. And they want the least sugar, so we want the smallest number. Well, we've got 26, 23. Is 23 less than 26? Yes, it is. So it can't be that one. And then we've got 32. Well, 32 is more than 23, so it can't be that one. So it must be this one up here, which is Lucky Orange. Question 15. Magda has a website showing different packets of food. The packets show the amounts of salt. Which packet has the most salt? So we've got 0.7 grams, 1.5 grams, 1.7 grams, 0.4 grams, 0.6 grams, and 1.4 grams. Now what I've noticed with some of these is that some are starting with a 0 and some are starting with a 1. If we want the most amounts, well, the ones with a 1 are going to be more than the zeros. So, can't be that one, can't be that one, and it can't be that one. So we've got, can I fit them all in? Oh yeah, just about. So we've got 1.5, 1.7, or 1.4. Because the one bit, the bit at the front of the decimal point is the same for all of them, we can just look at the second number after the decimal place or decimal point. We want the most, so we want the biggest number. Well, 7 is more than 4, 7 is more than 5. So we're going to go with that one there. And question 16. Magda counts the patients who have health checks. So in January, 32 patients had health checks. In February, 38. In March, 24. In April, there were 27 patients with a health check. Show the number of patients in April on the chart. So they've already drawn the bars for us for January, February and March. We want April. Okay, well, let's have a look. April's got 27. So let's look at the numbers over here. Going up in 5s. So 25. There's 30, so we'd have 26, 27. And just to check, if we carried on 28, 29, 30, yes, it would be there. But we don't want to do it here. We need to have our bar over here for April. Now, it doesn't have to be perfect, but what I'm going to do is measure. My bars are just over a centimetre, probably 12 millimetres, something like that. So I'm going to make my bar a similar width. So you can start measuring. I'll do it upside down, otherwise my ruler won't fit on here. So if we're starting from 0 there, 10, 11, 12, so right, that's the width of my bar. And we're going to go all the way up to 27, which is up here. So actually what we should do is from the 27, let's draw a sort of a faint line across and then make it a bit darker here. Okay. Now I'm trying to do this fairly accurately. It doesn't have to be exact, as long as we've got a similar width to the other bars, and it's the top, that's the most important bit, that we're going up to 27. Okay, you don't need to colour it in, you can just leave it plain there, or you can just do some quick shading. But as long as you've got your lines around the outside, that's all we need to see. And that's the end of the paper. So I hope you found that helpful. Please like the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, make sure you get your notification turned on so you get updated when I add more videos, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you.